Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to the Division 2. And today, I've got another news roundup for you all. Currently, we are headed into the back half of this season of the game. Things are usually pretty slow around this time as we wait for the season finale's arrival. But from some new data about how the game is doing behind the scenes, some updates on pressing bugs, future content teases, and more, we've got a lot to cover today. As per usual, there will be timestamps down below to each individual story and thing that we're going to cover in case you want to skip around. But you know the drill. If you enjoyed the video, you want to stay up to date on everything with the Division 2 moving forward, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. Additionally, as always, huge shout out and thank you to our channel members. Currently, we have a record-breaking amount of people who are signed up at the tier to get these shout outs. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for supporting me. But without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, now the first thing and story that I wanted to tackle, we finally seem to have some acknowledgement of how the Battle for Brooklyn DLC performed, right? Did it really bring that surge of players and interest back to the Division 2 like we hoped it would? It seems like it. So Ubisoft released their Q1 fiscal year financial report yesterday, and whereas usually you have to kind of squint through these things to find any real mention of the Division, this time around Division 2 is listed right front and center on their main Q1 activity highlights, right alongside the likes of Assassin's Creed Shadows and Rainbow Six Siege. It said, Tom Clancy's The Division 2 had a very strong start to the fiscal year with the launch of Year 7, the Battle for Brooklyn DLC release, a new season, and its inclusion in Game Pass that drove significant growth in acquisition and engagement, reaching its highest activity performance since May 2020. So, this is pretty awesome to hear. If you don't know, May 2020 was right around the launch window of Warlords of New York, aka the last major release for the game. And so, you know, some people have said this, it's not a shocker that this first DLC that they've done since then brings a lot of people back to the game. But more than anything, what I think this proves is that all these years later, there is still this amount of viability and interest in the IP, in the franchise of The Division. And so, you know, what I really hope Ubisoft can see and learn from this is that while DLCs can absolutely do this, as we just saw, simultaneously they're not going to reach their full potential if the development team behind them and behind the game doesn't have enough resources to properly follow it up with replayable, in-depth content. That's kind of what we're seeing right now. But despite that, if it wasn't clear from the performance here, there is a definitive future ahead for this game and the franchise at large. We're going to cover this in a later section, so stay tuned. But yeah, Brooklyn was a success, and hopefully the lessons learned here can be implemented to make the next launches, whatever those are, even better. Alright, next up I wanted to address some updates that we got regarding bugs and other issues that are currently present within the game. Earlier this morning, the game posted this over on Twitter. Agents, we have updated the status of some old issues on our known issues board to reflect the current state of the game and added a few more. Additionally, an in-game notification has been sent to all players about the visual bug that causes the stash to appear empty in Brooklyn. We appreciate all the reports and feedback we are receiving from you, and we will keep updating the board as soon as we have more information. Alright, so a couple of important things here. Firstly, they did it. An in-game banner and notification got added regarding the ongoing empty stash issue. Here's a look at it if you've not logged in yet today. It's not quite 100% accurate, as this issue can happen to non-DLC owners too, and also if you're just interacting within DC, it can happen to you there. But the point is, we got recognition in-game. It tells people your items are not lost. That's fantastic. I really hope this is a tool that they utilize and use a lot more moving forward. There's a lot of agents out there who don't stay plugged in online and see the updates that are shared on social media or whatever. So that was great to see. Additionally though, as the post mentioned, they did do some pretty sweeping updates on the known issues board. They properly updated a lot of the older issues that were still on there. They added some new ones. They reclassified a few things. As always, I highly recommend that you go and check this out for yourself, bookmark it for future use. I'll leave a link for it right towards the top of the description in case you don't have that. That said, I wanted to shout out just two notable ones that I saw on there. For one, they've added this card that says that the Summit Combat Mastery Merit Commendation is unclaimable for some players. That's being investigated. And then also, people may not like the answer, but we did get an acknowledgement on the missing scope dilemma that's been going on with weapons like St. Elmo's, the Striga, and more. If you didn't know, you used to be able to scope in on these guns despite them not physically having one on the model, but that functionality suddenly disappeared with a recent patch. Long story short, from the card that they put up here, they said that these items were actually never intended to be able to be scoped in, again, since they don't actually have a scope on their weapon. And so they said the removal of these is intentional, it's not a bug, and they don't plan to bring them back. Again, I'm sure some people will be disappointed by this. I'm kind of indifferent. I prefer the scope functionality to remain with weapons that actually have them, but at the same time, for the likes of the St. Elmos, that's been around for 2 years now, and they didn't do anything until now. So whatever your feelings towards it may be, that's the update that we got. Moving on, and we've actually got an incoming transmission to be aware of. So the game posted this shortly before I went to sit down and record this video. It says, incoming transmission, agents from around the world answered the call, not just to play, but to find out and give their thoughts on what's next. United in the division, stand by for deployment. So that post was accompanied by this teaser trailer, which I will loop on screen. If you don't understand what is going on here, some people may recall that I had the amazing opportunity to travel to Sweden earlier this year alongside many other creators and dedicated members of the community. The purpose of the visit was to preview the Battle for Brooklyn DLC prior to its reveal, get a glimpse at Year 7 overall. The thing is though, the entire time we were there, we had a film crew following us, evident by all the shots in this teaser in various locations. And so they've now gone and compiled that footage into what I assume is like a mini documentary, and it is releasing on YouTube tomorrow. So obviously this is not incredibly major or revelatory, but it will absolutely be a pretty cool glimpse and insight into our trip for anyone who may care to check it out. I'm not entirely sure how much they're actually planning to share here. There's a chance that you'll see another video from me tomorrow discussing something that they might show. But overall, that trip was still just such a highlight moment for me as a creator, even more so as just a fan of the division. And I don't think it really hit me until after the DLC launched, given the craziness that was happening between April and May leading up to the release. But yeah, heading into June and this month, it really just hit me how special that trip was, how much it meant to me, again, as a fan. So I'm honestly really looking forward to seeing how they've edited this together. I don't know what time this is dropping tomorrow, but it should either be on Ubisoft or Massive's YouTube channel, so stay tuned. Alright, and then finally, I wanted to quickly address the question of what's next. As I mentioned back in the intro, we are in the kind of usual season slump window right now, even more so than usual given that it's summer, people in Sweden are on holiday, gaming news is usually pretty slow in general. But in this past week, things have been firming up as to what I think we can start to look forward to coming up. Firstly, thanks to the new Scout screen UI that they added in the recent patch, we can see clearly that this season's climax mission is less than 3 weeks away. It is currently set to drop on August 12th. In case you're behind, remember that you only actually need to do the 2 scouts that are labeled as HVTs this time around. You do not need to do all 12 if all you care to do is access the finale at the end of the season, right? If you don't want the lore drops. But speaking of, as per usual, that finale will come with some amount of story revelations. It's also going to see the drop of the Tinkerer exotic mask. And let me tell you, if you thought that YouTube had a lot of build video content already for the division, you ain't seen nothing yet. That mask is going to be very powerful. It's going to introduce a ton of new builds. So yeah, we've got that coming up in game. Then quickly to circle back to that investor call that we mentioned at the start, the very end slide of that shows their upcoming quarter release schedule, and it does confirm in there that Year 7 Season 2 of the game is set to drop by the end of September. Now I know that might be a no-brainer for some, but I had also seen a decent amount of skepticism from people about the game's future, given the lack of a published Year 7 roadmap, which is fair because that's abnormal for Year 5 and 6. We got these very defined, clear roadmaps. What I will say is, the game is not ending. There are many future plans in place. Some of those things have begun to start getting teased. And if you caught my video last week, we learned that for the first time in years, the team is going to be attending Gamescom in Germany, and among other things, they're going to reveal whatever update or content is tied to the Snow teaser that we got at the end of last month. And as a commenter on that video put very well, I wanted to highlight this here, it's very unlikely that you're going to devote time, money, and resources to have a presence at Gamescom if they were just going to come out on stage and say, hey, we put Snow in the game, right? Because no one outside of the Division sphere would care about that whatsoever. You can get Snow in a lot of other games. And so specifically, given their plans to reveal it at Gamescom, whatever is coming, my $5 is on the fact that it's going to be pretty substantial. And so at this point, that reveal is coming in less than 1 month, and then if Year 7 Season 2 is dropping in early September, which seems likely given the in-game calendar, then we're probably going to start getting PTS news pretty soon. They could also do a season reveal at Gamescom 2. That's something that somebody mentioned in my stream this week. The overall point is, even if things are relatively slow right now, and I've already begun to see some of the doom and gloom out there in the community that happens every season once things die down, just hang tight, give it a few weeks, and there should be some exciting announcements to come. Alright, well that is everything that I've got for you today, folks. I wanted to try and break down all of this scattered news. It seems like you all kind of enjoy this roundup format of video that I've been doing. I hope you like this one. Whatever thoughts or questions you may have after watching it, as always, feel free to leave those down below. Additionally, whatever your predictions are for what's next. What are you hoping to see in that little documentary tomorrow? What do you think about Gamescom next month? Everything moving forward. I'd love to hear about it. Let me know. That is going to do it for me today, though. Everybody, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold.